break a certain part. That's Mitch always taught me to be wary of comedy scenes or cliques. Yeah. Because you can get very in that. And yeah, there's a comedy scene everywhere. Like I was in the Toronto comedy scene. There's a Seattle one. He was like, be wary of really getting in one of those. Rise above. Always rise above.
Rise above, because it doesn't make money. It's more of a social thing. It's not a business.
It's social, and it's hard to really recognize that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, we're all here. It is show business. So you're trying to rise above, and we all got rent and shit. So we're trying to get good enough so you could fill seats. Like Mitch, we saw, like I talked to you earlier before this podcast. Lynn and I are so connected. We talked for an hour before the podcast.
I haven't done Zoom before, so I was a bit nervous. So I called him to talk, and then that was an hour of a conversation.
Yeah, that was an hour, but a great hour. But one of the things.
You're so sweet.
Oh, I had such a good time. I got
Rob,
to tour.
You are so amazing at appreciating vibes. I guess that's what your podcast is all about in a way.
Yeah, it's all about. I want to put
if
positive.
a vibe is good for you, like you're sensitive, you can pick up vibes. If a vibe is good for you, that's valuable to you. That's amazing, and it should be. Yeah. You're
so right, Lynn. You're so right with that, because there have been places in comedy or just places in my life where I try to push it, and the vibe, I just know the vibe doesn't. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm wasting fucking time. I gotta protect my vibe.
It's hard to,
it's hard to figure out where you fit in life, and I think that's what you don't ever really fit in. You just keep on being yourself and learning to be yourself.
I'm also like, how am I got this life? Like how am I here? And then I realized it's not really by accident. You end up going towards people, and they come to you. But it took me like 30 years to figure that out. I was just like, I just thought I was bopping along like an atom and just here and stuff. I don't know.
No, I felt the same way. Like I always kind of lived in the moment before I learned that. And then you get old and you're like, oh, I got to make some fucking money. I got to figure some shit out.
That's the hardcore thing.
That's the hardcore. Life gets real. That's the thing. I was listening to Widespread Panic, and they had a great line like, life, people get high, some people get sad, but at the end, it always gets real. You know, it just, life gets fucking real, like
real fast.
Real fast. It gets real. But that's what, but also, at the same time, it's not
hard
real.
To recognize when a vibe, like when people say to me, I talked to you about this, when people say, or like when people are like, it's a bad day, this happened, or a good day, this happened. Things happening don't affect whether it's good or bad for me. It's all my mind. Like I could get in a car accident and be bopping around. That might not be something negative unless I'm hurt or something. I go with the vibe, but it's when my brain is fucked up that it's a bad day. Yeah. I don't know. But
it's hard.
It does get real fast. I mean, back to Mitch and like we'll just lay it out a little bit. Mitch and I met Mitch Hedberg in 1998, and then we got married 3 months later, and then we were together for almost 7 years. We were out of our whole time, I think we were only apart 10 nights. Wow. We were like attached to the hip, good or bad.
Good or bad, but I was there and I witnessed it.
Like, were we nice to each other? We didn't argue, did we?
No, you didn't. It was always like kind of silly arguments, like, oh, maybe you gotta do the closing joke, or you drank this. You guys weren't. It was always silly, and that's what I missed about. That's what was such a bummer. And I told you earlier, like I just had like Mitch's vibe. It was his jokes will go down in history, of course.
Yes,
brilliant writer. But to me, it was you guys' vibe, and there was
amazing.
It was an openness, cool, and it was artistic, but also not douchey. And it was like it was. Right. You guys weren't douches. Like you guys didn't look down on people. Yeah, you guys didn't look down on people. No, and even the worst hacky comic,
Mitch was so revered that Mitch was also silly, and also he was a comedian, and comedians do the slams and the things. But he was also conscious that, you know, we'd be in a green room and it would be packed with like 10 comedians just staring at him. You know what I mean? Like you were working, but like other comedians, and he also knew to be inclusive, you know what I mean? Like do a little joke here and there, but also he knew people might take his things to heart. So he was conscious of he wasn't like all like goody, but he also knew he couldn't lob any hardballs because people took it to heart because they revered him, if that makes sense. So he did create this really neat energy. So we met you. So we were at the Sacramento Punchline, which as a comedian, you usually work San Francisco for a week and then you go to Sacramento. And we went to Sacramento all the time. Like, it was like a million times. Mitch opened up a world to me. Like, I came from Canada, and the next thing you know, for 7 years, I went to DC 10 times. It was wild. So then we met a fresh-faced, cute Robcantrell that week, and you were emceeing, right?
Yes.
MC, because that's how it works. So you were just been bumped up from things, but you had just done a TV show. So how did Mitch treat you? And then he gave you a treat, right?
Yeah, no, Mitch was good. I'll tell you, it was before the TV show. I got the TV show but the first time, and we'll bring him up, the first time, and he drove me up there, was Brian Mallow was featured. Oh, and we both have good friends, and Mitch has history with Brian. I know you guys all do. Love him. You know, he was very kind to me too. He was very kind to me. And we drove. That's wild.
You forget that comedians, because Mitch really, at the end of the day, wasn't much older than you. But, you know, like, think about it. He died just after his 36th birthday when you look at it now. But those few years, so there really is, like, people like Mitch could make or break someone's spirit in a way. You know, if you really like someone and they're fucking douchey, it can be brutal, because comedy's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. And he understood how hard it was.
Any comedian now remembers every time a comedian was kind to them young. They remember that. It's huge.
Yeah, Mitch got me a hotel room. He paid for. Do you remember this? And you guys, because I was sleeping on my cousin's couch like for the fifth night or whatever, you guys, and I was just coming in.
MC, they didn't put you up, so you had to like go back and forth.
Yeah, I had to go back and forth, and I didn't have a car. I'm borrowing car that isn't insured, the whole thing, like, you know, half broke, barely making it, getting on stage, kind of bombing. Holding on to the dream, the whole nine. But Mitch, dude, you guys came in and Mitch got me up. You guys got me a hotel room. You guys got me a hotel room.
Felt like, oh my God, that must have felt great. Yeah.
It was heaven. And the problem was Brian Mallow heard about it. I think Brian Mallow heard about it and wanted a room too.
Oh my God.
So I kind of fucked up on that one. That one I should have.
No.
That was one of those times I should have turned down Mitch's generosity, because Mitch was like, because he threw it out to me. We were hanging out. He was like, dude, I'll get you a hotel, because I was probably complaining like, man, I got to drive up here.
What are you talking about? You're a lunatic. That's the best thing. You took it.
I did. I took it. I felt bad, but I took it from. I was like, you know, I'll take you up.
No, Mitch also I'm writing a book. I've been offered to write a book. Mitch also had this philosophy, which got us into trouble. Is he didn't like to say no to anything because it's negative. Like, to the point of, if you offered him a piece of gum and he didn't want it, he'd still say yes. That's how fucking on point he was. So.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.